Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and now that my two informative videos are done for the day, including a bench press workout, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this guy called Jeremy Buendia. I don't follow men's physique. The only men's physique competitor I know of in the IFBB is Jeff Side. That's literally the only one I've ever heard of. But I thought these guys were at least decently strong. They're supposed to be jacked. Well, Brittany runs over because you guys know she filters all my Instagram. I don't really read Instagram. It's not my thing. She loves Instagram. She runs it for me. She filters the messages, and someone sent a message of this, some guy saying, hey, this is a 4-time men's physique Olympia. I didn't know they had a men's physique Olympia. I guess they do. I guess they have to. And, you know, he's jacked. And he's weak. He's like really weak. And Brittany looked at the video and comes to something, oh my God, this dude is really jacked. And won all sorts of Mr. Olympia titles, and he can't even deadlift 500 pounds. Now, I've taught Brittany enough to know that if someone is hitching and jerking at the top, they can't lift the weight. They're not actually strong enough to deadlift the weight, right? That's why it's not allowed in powerlifting meets and stuff, and it's not because it's necessarily cheating. It's because you literally aren't strong enough to deadlift the weight. You just can't get enough power through the movement to lock it out. And that's why it's disqualified. And it's dangerous and you get hurt doing it. Well, this guy, I guess he did a charity event, and I watch and I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty jacked. Grabs, what is it, 550 sumo? He's got a belt and he's got those lifting hooks. Right, he's got those lifting hooks. And he can't lift it. It's a failed lift. And I'm just kind of in awe. And the reason I'm in awe is because this is a guy, when I saw his other pictures, this dude is jacked. The dude is jacked. And he walks around, his off-season is like 210, and I guess he's off-season there. To put that in perspective, guys, I weighed in, what, 223 with my boots on last time? I'm barely heavier than this guy. And you guys see me do work sets without a belt, without straps, with like 515 for work sets. So I expect this guy to be stronger than that. People say, wow, why are you being petty like that? I'm being petty because it goes to show that these guys literally don't even develop a proper strength base. Because truth be told, anyone who trains every muscle in their body should be reasonably strong on every exercise, including the deadlift. In fact, you can build a 500+ pound deadlift without ever deadlifting. It can absolutely be done. Absolutely be done. The proof, I deadlifted 455 the first day I ever tried to deadlift. I've been doing other exercises. I've been doing pull-ups. I've been doing squats. Pulled 455. And I wouldn't be making fun of the guy if this was some guy building his strength up. Just like when Scott Herman did that video, and I actually said, you know what, I'm going to give Scott Herman props. He pulled 455 without a belt. That was a goal of his, a 455 beltless deadlift. He reached it. And I kind of said, you know what, that's cool. You're reaching for performance. I'm going to give you props. That's a decent lift to be hitting as a natty. That's pretty decent to do 455 beltless when you're not really a strength guy. So I gave respect for that because he was promoting some basic strength training. Then you see this guy walking around 210, blasting a ton of gear, winning all sorts of titles, and he doesn't have a strong enough back to pull 500. He doesn't have enough back development to pull 500. Do these men's physique guys, do they not know anything about training? This guy is supposedly the best in the world. He's won, I guess, the top men's physique title and non-drug tested in the world 4 times. And he doesn't even have a strength base that I would expect of a natty. Like if you're a natty and you're not like 40 or 50 years old, I'm in my 40s, but you're not in your 40s or 50s and you've been training 5 years, I would expect you to be able to deadlift 500 pounds. If you've been seriously weight training, and I don't mean a power lifter, I mean someone who's been doing decent, heavy barbell work and even hypertrophy work or whatever for 5 years, I would expect a 500 pound deadlift. And I would expect you to be able to do that without a belt. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's an unreasonable goal for a natty. Well, you got a guy here who seems to have complete muscular development. And he doesn't have enough core or back to pull 505. I mean, he gets 2/3 of the way up and starts shimmying and has to hitch. He doesn't have the back to do it. What are these guys doing with their training? Are they literally all drugs? Is this guy literally all drugs that he doesn't have enough back strength after all these years and years of lifting and all the drugs? and the development that he can't pull 500. And it's scary. It goes to show that a lot of these guys don't even use the most basic of training concepts. They don't even do the basics. They've completely skipped the basics. If a guy that jacked and on that much gear hasn't been able to build that, I mean, if I were to look at that guy and you were to show me a picture of him and tell me he weighs 210 off season, and I look at that guy and I look at his back development, leg development, if you were to ask me what would I expect him to walk up and pull, even if he doesn't deadlift regularly, it's not like one of his exercises, he's not a regular deadlifter, I would expect that guy to pull 550 plus without a belt and without straps. I think that would be a totally reasonable expectation if he doesn't even train the deadlift regularly. If he deadlifts a lot, a guy with that sort of development, 600 plus, 650, 700, I don't think that's unreasonable for a guy that jacked and on a bunch of gear like that. It's just not an unreasonable expectation. If he actually deadlifts, like is a regular exercise that he does once a week, and has actually been working on it for 5+ years or something, yeah, 600 to 700 with a guy that size. Totally doable with all the drugs. So again, you've got to wonder, you've got to question, what in the hell are guys like this doing? What are they doing in the gym? How are they training? How are they training if they can't pull 500 pounds? And particularly needing hooks and everything else. He's not train his forearms. Does he not do anything for his grip, his forearms, anything? You absolutely have to wonder. And how good are their training principles going to work without drugs if they don't even have a basic strength base? Because that's what I tell a lot of you guys, or you got to remember that. When someone is completely drug-free, you will have to get strong to get big. All right, you will have to develop a strength base to put on size. It is absolutely required. We know that when no drugs are in the mix, that a big muscle is a strong muscle. Been proven repeatedly. And things like deadlifts will find weaknesses. Deadlift will find the weakest point in your back, and that's what will limit you. If your hamstrings are weak, the deadlift will limit you. And people who've done hypertrophy work for all of those muscles will be stronger, all right? Because again, a big muscle is a strong muscle. So it blows my mind when you see something like that. What people need to remember, we have seen studies that show that when people use high doses of drugs, they do not gain as much strength per unit of muscle mass. That has been noted. So at a certain point, you got to realize guys like this are literally all drugs. He literally probably doesn't have even a proper basic training protocol in place. And it's just downright scary that you have guys who are developing a look like that, who haven't built a much stronger foundation on a simple exercise like the deadlift. And again, I want to reiterate that a deadlift, usually guys who train their back and their legs a lot will be strong on the deadlift, even if they don't train the exercise. And a perfect example, you guys remember when I came back to lifting, back when I first started YouTube, I spent 10 months in bed sick. I didn't lift for 3 years. I came back and it took me less than a year to hit like a 525 deadlift, right? I pulled 525, I did that on camera. Even on my original channel before I did voiceovers or talked or anything. I went 10 months without deadlifting. I did nothing but squats and rows. And I came back after 10 months of not deadlifting at all and pulled 525 again. A week later, I pulled 540. And that's the point. If you build all those muscles up, even with other exercises, your deadlift is going to be reasonably strong. It might not be world level powerlifter strong, but it's going to be reasonably strong. And I'm just shocked that you have a guy like this, walks up and with lifting hooks and everything, can't even pull 500. Again, people are taking training advice from this. Guys like this who are literally all drugs. They don't have even a strength base you would expect for their size, and people take advice from them. Got a clue for you. Whatever program this guy used, if you tried to do that program without drugs, you are probably not going to get results. Probably not going to happen. Because that is where his size is coming from. It's not coming from correct resistance training and working every muscle in your body thoroughly. Clearly not coming from that, or the guy wouldn't be struggling with something like a 500-pound deadlift while weighing over 200 pounds lean. Wouldn't be happening. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.